I know you megas, they rock with this. I know you megas, I'm poppin' shit. I know you mad, you can't drop like this. You mad, I'm gon' shine, you can't stop the shit. Why you hatin', they love me for what I do. Keep it so G, yeah, that's how I move. You thought you could see me, I change of view. Got a man when you win, niggas pray you lose. Ayy, you talk down.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of UNCORK'D, the podcast. Today we got two sports aficionados in the building. They heard some things that they might agree or disagree with from the last pod that we dropped. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. Hey Weezy, you go first.
All right, man. You already know what it is, man. Co-host of UNCORK'D. We here. Checked in. We swagged out. We tapped in.
Oh, yeah.
You know what we about. Man, we about to get ready to dive into college football. It's your boy, Suave Magico, Instagram. Also on Snapchat. That's Smooth Magic in Spanish. With the underscore in the middle. Suave_Magico. My boy Jay, go ahead and take it.
This your boy 601 Jimmy Jew. What it do?
Listen, James, I'll give him an introduction. 1/3 of Jacktown Classics. 1/4 for Act Accordingly. Sports aficionado. Jacktown Jew. And he your guest on UNCORK'D. So if you watched the last episode, another co-host from Jacktown Classics was Zay. He had a hot take on the performance that went on in the Celebration Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Now this TikTok is going viral. We currently at 50,000 views on TikTok.
Okay.
With over 6,000 likes and like over 150 comments, probably 200 comments. Mm-hmm. So the TikTok community is some agreeing, some disagreeing. Like they having whole conversations in the thread. So I'm gonna play the clip for y'all, and I just want y'all take on it. Y'all can take y'all time, take turns on this little hot 1 minute snippet of a 48-minute podcast. So shout out to my boy Zay, 95IX. Yeah, I'm gonna put it somewhere. 95IXX, whatever. But I'm gonna go and play this clip. And if y'all looking for it, you can find it on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. It'll be there.
For sure.
Novas.
Man.
Back to back.
Two of them wasn't completely on Shedeur because their offense need to go to the barbershop because they need a line. Cause like two of them got tipped because of too much
Pressure.
penetration. Then defensively, I was telling James this. After this game, all three Sanders need to do some soul searching. Deion got flat out coached. Shedeur he played like trash, to be fair. Shiloh is a liability. He been a liability all season. He got that one pick, but then he tried that tackle. That running back bounced off him like a damn pinball. I wouldn't trust a nigga to wrap my gifts. He can't wrap up at all. Or he choose not to. I'm not gonna say he can't. He choose not to for whatever reason. Maybe he think he finna just come in there and blow a nigga up, but.
Okay, that's the clip, y'all. That's the clip. Interesting clip.
Interesting take by my guy Zay.
So lead the thing off, hey Weezy. What you think about what he said about the Celebration Bowl and some of the takes he had on the Sanders that's a part of the Jackson State organization?
All right. Real quick. Interesting take by my guy Zay. I agree with a lot of what he said, and I disagree with a lot of what he said as well. But before I even dive into rebutting what he said, let me just give you my perspective on what I seen from the Celebration Bowl. Jackson State came out fired up, ready to play. Coach Prime, inspiration on the sidelines. We know his story. We know how he's bouncing back from his health issues. We also know Young Jeezy kind of giving an inspirational speech before the game as well. So the football team, shout out to Jeezy as well, my favorite rapper. and also your rapper's favorite rapper. But back to the point, We're gonna talk about Jackson State coming out fired up. They played pretty good football that first quarter, if you ask me. They came out attacking. Defense played very well. Had the quarterback Fields flustered for South Carolina State pretty much the entire first half. The offense, man, they played relatively well. If you just want me to kind of give them a grade scale of 1 to 10, they probably played at a 6. They played relatively well. Was able to move the football. I think Shedeur made some timely plays. Also, the defense made some timely plays as well. Shiloh got that interception early in that first half, as they alluded to, but he also said that he kind of bouncing off, the running back like a pinball. But now, as we know, football is a complementary game. So I feel like the defense pretty much held up as long as they could. It was the offense of Jackson State that really didn't show up, because we all know football, and we all know that if you continue to put the defense out there, they're going to eventually fold at some point. And the offense just failed to produce consistent first downs, and they showed a unwillingness for some reason, as they've shown previously earlier in their SWAC competition, to where they just refused to run the football consistently. And we know running the football and a good defense wins majority of the games for you. And I feel like if they would have ran the football more and took a more conservative approach to kind of churn in yards and get the defense guessing, because the defense pretty much knew that Jackson State was going to kind of premier Shedeur like they've been doing pretty much majority of the year. Too much throwing of the football. The same thing that kind of doomed us against equal to or better competition in Louisiana Monroe. If we can remember earlier in the year, we played that game pretty close, but we lost 9-7. They kicked 3.
Right. They kicked 4 field goals.
Right, kicked 4 field goals to pretty much beat us, and we scoring the only touchdown early that game, but we never scored again. Kind of similar to these results in the Celebration Bowl. So I think I agree with Zayon. They got out-coached. I don't know if that means that we need to get another offensive coordinator in there or what, but I definitely think that Shedeur will grow and learn. Don't roll out the pocket every chance you get after you don't see your first 2 reads. He's not that athletic. And he has great pocket presence, but he's not that athletic enough to just continue to scramble. Like, he needs to stay true in the pocket and continue to develop. He's a true freshman, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because although he has played very well in the SWAC, once we get the going out of conference to these teams that also produce 3-star plus players, we've shown the ability to play well with these teams, but we just haven't been able to put it all together and show that we can compete at a consistent level against these teams. So I won't just completely put it all on bad coaching and Shiloh on the defensive end, because the defense actually played pretty well. And as an overall team, they played well that first half, but kind of wore down in that second half as the more talented South Carolina State started to wane on them, and then the talent ultimately prevailed. So when you're an underdog, you have to kind of start out fast, play well, and take it from there and kind of jump on top of them when the game is kind of in tow, and then you can kind of ride it from there. And when the game get tight, you kind of give yourself a chance. But in this situation, Jackson State just didn't play well enough. So piggybacking on Zay's point, what do you think, James?
Well, number one, I'm going to start at your Jeezy thing. I did not like that.
I knew you was going to start
This
there.
Jackson State University, we done. Forgive me, Jeezy. We don't give a damn about no Jeezy. I mean, we do as a rapper, but on the sideline of my football game, man, we about to play some football, man. This ain't no thug motivation, motherfucker. You better take that shit back.
You know what I think? You know what I think? I feel like since they was in Atlanta and Jesus just don't have to be available, because I ain't never heard Jesus say nothing about no damn Jackson State. But I'm gonna let y'all. This y'all, you. Go ahead, James.
So I'm gonna go back to Zay's point about the three Sanders doing some soul search. I'm not gonna say Shedeur played trash because, like you say, he a true freshman. Shedeur played the game he been playing all year. He's a timely playmaker. He is great from the neck up. One thing he ain't no game breaker. You cannot put the game on him and expect him to win it. He did it one time this year against Southern in Baton Rouge. Hell of a time to do it. Glad you did do it.
Big rivalry game.
Yeah, but he did it one time this year. I told Zay when we get to the point where Shedeur got to put up 25 plus for us to win, we done. He ain't there, and he might get there as he matriculate through Jackson State.
Absolutely,
but he's not there yet. So also I told Zay he do got great pocket awareness, but one thing you notice about him, I don't mind the scrambles 5-6 yards and slide, because one thing about it, they was dropping 8 or like either they were blitzing or they were dropping 8.
Absolutely.
So if they drop 8, take the 5-6, get down, keep your third downs and 3rd and 4 and short. That way you can give a running game. He was trying to force it. I feel like he was trying to force the ball into coverage, and when the blitz was coming, he didn't see where it was coming from. They did a great job. They go back to coaching too. They did a great job of not tipping their hand for him to know what was going on. Kind of like you see people have to do with Brady. Like, you got to make Brady play football, but you can't show him beforehand what you going to do. So when they was dropping 8 and rushing 3, he's trying to figure out where to go with the ball, throw the little drag routes, 5 or 6 yards, but that's what they wanted. It played into their hands.
Right.
It was some things that I would have been done differently. Like I told Zay, I would have been put Warren Newman in the backfield. I'd have made them play him out the backfield because we lined him up in the slot. We got 2 6'5" receivers. Like, come on, we got enough talent at receiver. Play him out the backfield, even if you use him as a receiver. Get him on the linebacker. 5-10 yards you down the field. That's what Brady been doing his whole career. But you got to stay patient to do that.
And Peyton Manning.
Manning was.
Speak on the greatest quarterback of all time. Speak on the greatest quarterback that ever laced the football, the great Peyton Manning.
But on Coach Prime, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't got nothing against him. I'm happy he here. He has always struck me as more of an athletic director than a football coach. The Gilly and Wallow on the sideline, nah. If anybody gonna be on the sideline, it's your ex-players of this university. Not no goddamn celebrities. They ain't been here. They don't represent this shit. This is what we do. But he ain't been here.
Right.
If I'm the AD, I make that shit known, man. You listen, I'm all for the promotion. But get these motherfuckers, G's ain't got no business on the sideline. That shit ain't help you win that game. Cause when that nigga Shaq Davis, #1, was out there hooping on your motherfucking ass, I don't give a damn what motivation G's came with. Cause that nigga over there, they play football. You got to be a football coach. Now the shit he did did you see the pregame thing where he walked, where he took his first couple steps?
Right.
Beautiful. That's the shit to get you fired up. Like you said, they came out ready to play. Okay, first quarter, they ready to all that shit. Hurrah, hurrah, hooray. Second, third, fourth quarter, come from up here.
Right.
They go back to getting our coach.
Yeah.
You ain't put your best corner on their best receiver. Come on, man. Your best corner, the #1 JUCO corner, coming out last year, and you lock them up man to man.
Right.
This you played DB. That's what you would have wanted. You ain't gonna do it with him. Come on, man. And to Shiloh, he been doing that shit all year, not wrapping up. But once again, like, what you want. That's what Zay said. They need to do some soul searching. And I guess this is soul searching. What do you want out of this? Do you want to be the nigga known for big hits and headache game? Or do you want to be a great safety? Wrap up. When the ball in the air and these niggas, once again, this nigga Shaq Davis snagging on you and who the corner was, which ain't no problem. That's part of football, bro. Like, you gonna give up plays. That ain't no problem. But you showboat your way there. and you got humbled. Take that humble pie and get your ass back and get better. Niggas ain't gonna want to hear this because it's Deion Sanders and his sons, but at the same time, he done made a spectacle of the whole football program. Now it's worked. You get the number one recruit in the country. You draw so much attention, but with that come everything else that came. And these niggas, this nigga on the phone, this nigga Shaq Davis on his phone before the game over with. Basically so disrespectful as the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, these motherfuckers can't fuck with us. They got a sledgehammer on the sideline. Come on, man.
So, did you want to say anything to what he said? Cause
Yeah, definitely. I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but like, it's kind of like I look at it both ways. I look at it as if I agree with you as far as they definitely got out coached, but I feel like it was more so offensively. Like, I'm not gonna put a lot of the blame on Shiloh, because I feel like you got different styles of safeties, and when I look at him, he's more of a free safety. If I project him at the next level, if he continues to matriculate. And a lot of free safeties are not just your best tacklers. Like, let's just be honest about that. Like, everybody, on the football field is not. Everybody ain't gonna be Ed Reed. And to Ed Reed's credit, he wasn't just looking to lay the wood on people, even in his Baltimore days. Like, he was more out there ball hawking, and that's what Shiloh brings to the table. But even still, I do agree with the point that Jackson State has a lot of talent. They are much more talented as far as the level of recruits that they've had previously over the previous years. And this was some humble pie as far as, like, you got to play for a full game. You know what I'm saying? You just can't show up, play fired up one half, and then come back the next half kind of lackadaisical when you haven't built a comfortable league, when you haven't, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, it's from the neck up once attrition kicks in.
Yeah.
So, I definitely agree with that. And as far as Coach Prime is concerned, I definitely feel like he's been doing a phenomenal job. And I think a lot has been masked because we dominated the SWAC. And as you said, like, that comeback
dominated or won, because it's a difference. That Alcorn win wasn't dominating. That SWAC championship win wasn't dominating. That Southern win wasn't dominating. That Valley win wasn't dominating. We dominated one team.
They all wins.
That's true.
And that was perfect in the SWAC. They didn't lose a SWAC game. So essentially, that's domination.
They undefeated in the SWAC is domination. But
I get what you're saying.
I definitely understand what you're saying about everything was close. It wasn't just Patriot-esque in 2007, if you want to say just dominate, even though they had a couple of close wins here and there. But for the most part,
they was swacking niggas.
Right. So, I think it's definitely a lot of room for improvement. I think if we get some solid running backs, and I think that Coach Prime, this was his first full season, even though he did play in the spring. So I think as we definitely gain more talent and give him more time to implement what he's trying to implement, granted that he stays multiple years, which I hope and pray he does, I think it'd be a great thing. And I think we'll continue to grow from this because, like, to your point, these are a lot of true freshmen playing, so they can only learn and get better. And real quick to Shedeur, before we get into something else, man, he's a freshman. And he's from what I've analyzed on him is he's suffering from a lot of those mistakes that young quarterbacks typically make. Like, he holds the ball way too long. To your point about when the defense was either dropping three or sending the blitz, the offensive line played tremendous. Like, even when they blitzed, like, the line picked it up. Like, Shedeur had ample time to throw that football, but he holds the ball. He religiously rolls right, which is predictable, and he's not that athletic, to your point as well. So, like, he has that pocket athleticism
Yeah,
to
he
where
can-
he can escape pressure. He can move up well in the pocket, move around well enough. But he's not a game breaker. He's not gonna win like beating you with his legs. Like he's a 5 to 6 yard scrambler and slider, like you said.
It's cool.
So yeah.
So
Before you go, we speaking as real Jacksonians, not none of this new age. Just came when Prime showed up.
Yeah.
Like, this shit go way back.
this is no hating. Everyone at this table is a Jackson State alum. So we went to Jackson State. So this
Shit, I still go.
so the things that their opinions are based on unbiasedness. We love what Deion has brought, the opportunity he has brought to the HBCUs. It's just we're just being objective, and we're looking at it like we would look at any other situation that we're not related to. Like if we were just judging a Alabama and Auburn game or something like that. People make commentary all the time. People gonna have their comments. If you want to tear us down because we talking about Jackson State in a positive or negative light, that's cool. We're just giving our opinion. But since we are talking about Jackson State, they landed Travis Hunter, number 1, number 2 recruit in the country, 5-star, first time in HBCU history that a 5-star has came.
Straight out of high school.
Straight out of high school. So we landed him, and you might be familiar with Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah,
So-
definitely Doug Gottlieb.
So he had some comments, and I will play the clip, but I'm not. I'll briefly say what he said. Did you hear the clip?
I haven't heard it.
Did you hear the clip, James?
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially he was saying that he doesn't understand why Twitter is giving so much praise for this recruit making a horrible decision and coming to Jackson State. He also said that, and I'm paraphrasing, he also said that if we just look at the facts of the matter and not focus on the praise and the attention that what he's doing for HBCUs, pretty much basically saying that like it was a bad decision if you going based on the history of what has been successful in the past for people going to college. So do y'all want to chime in on it, or do y'all want to just chime in on the recruit, what it's bringing to the city and the conference and the black colleges as a whole?
For black colleges as a whole is great because it could get honestly, I don't think we ever gonna get to a point where 4 and 5 stars just completely only come back to HBCUs. But I do think he can open up the doors for where the ESPN 300, let's say, 20 to 30% consider HBCUs. 300 people, 20% is 60.
Yeah.
So of that, if we get 10, so we get 30 of the 300 to come to HBCUs, then shit, you can't complain about that. I think it could bring a lot to the city of Jackson. Just his off that alone, he already done started when you look at it, because I seen the thing on IG, I don't know if you seen it, about him. They asked him why he came, and he said once he had a piece of a stump burger, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was so, like, that's a commercial in itself or some shit. Like, he already immersing himself in Jackson culture with Stamps Burger. So I think it's great. On the field, I haven't seen nothing but highlights, but of the highlights I seen, like, he's special. He a special talent. I also think this, I'm not a fool, don't sound like a hater, but Deion Sanders has a lot to do with him being here. So yeah, the HBCU stuff is it's a feather in the cap.
Yeah.
But to get coached by Deion Sanders is great. Like, he was committed to Florida State, so they let you know what he thinks about Deion Sanders, which is nothing wrong with. It's absolutely nothing wrong. This is probably the best football player of all time.
And it ain't no secret. Like I feel like everybody know he came because of Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
I feel if Deion Sanders wasn't here, he wouldn't be here.
Nah, he wouldn't.
But that's no knock. That's just facts.
It's just what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. I think it's a great thing. I just wish. I say this: him coming gonna be vital But once we could get Mississippi 4 and 5 stars to coming back, I think that's when it has to stay in power. You can't expect a kid from Georgia if Deion Sanders is not here to come to Jackson State. But if you build a foundation with the Mississippi kids, you might start to see a change.
So you kind of want some of the Mississippi 5 stars to kind of trend to the HBCUs that's in the state.
Yeah, just that. Or it could be anywhere because I'm going to tell you something. You look at like Hugh Jackson going to Grambling. Like if one of them Louisiana boys 4 or 5 stars, like if one do something, they gon' like it's gonna fuck the game up. But they come and hire. See, it's deep. It go to hiring coaches.
Yeah.
Like if I'm Hugh Jackson, who is the head coach at Grambling, I look into the New Orleans public school system. Me personally, I think New Orleans got the best public school football talent in America. That's including Miami. I hire one of their public school coaches. There's a head coach to come to Grambling. So now I'm gonna tap into that. It just is, you know what I'm saying? It's a trickle down effect. But yeah, I think it's great. I do think it's great because you got to get the one to open the door and then get the headlines too.
Yeah.
But as far as Doug Gottlieb come in, he went deep. As in, like, this is why his comment came out racist to me when he started talking about him going to Florida State or Georgia or Texas A&M. Number one, nigga, when the last time a cornerback from Texas A&M went pro? Okay, don't hold your breath. But he was talking about jobs, and even if he don't make it pro, you know, the network of jobs and all this shit. Just like basically a HBCU education ain't shit. Forget football.
Yeah.
He just went to the education ain't shit, the network ain't shit, just like down in the shit. And it's like, bro, what? Like you really showing your true colors. For real.
I mean, his last name Gottlieb or whatever. So.
Whatever the shit is.
Doug Gottlieb.
All right, so
Yeah.
what's your take on that, Weezy?
Man, it's crazy. I'm gonna first start off with Doug Gottlieb. His comments absolutely ludicrous, insane, ignorance, all wrapped in one to just be just plain stupid. Does Doug Gottlieb not know that Steve McNair came out of HBCU? Warren Moon, Walter Payton, a bunch of Hall of Famers came out of HBCUs, and if he needs to be educated on these things, we could definitely do that today. It doesn't matter what platform you play on. Ask Cam Newton. He was booted out of Florida for the reasons that we know. He went to Blinn. I don't even know what that is, but people still saw him. Auburn still wanted him, and he still went and delivered a national championship. Let's just hypothetically say, okay, and then also let me just bring in like players like Carson Wentz, North Dakota State. It doesn't matter where you are. If you are talented, the NFL scouts will find you. That is why they get paid major bucks to find diamonds in the rough. It's a bunch of people in SEC programs and Pac-12 programs and all over this country. But if you can find those diamonds in the rough, you gold. Like, if you are a certain star level recruit, you get pulled and you get watched regardless of where you go. Travis Hunter knows that the NFL scouts will be watching him while at Jackson State. Now it's going to be big upon him to be dominant, because if you are a 5-star recruit and you go to a lower level conference and way lower level like the SWAC is, you're expected to be dominant. I expect Travis Hunter to do all of those things, like play both sides of the football like Deion did in college and catch passes, catch screens, get out there in space, utilize his speed, and also play DB full time. I think NFL scouts will trust that Deion Sanders tutelage as a Hall of Fame DB, probably and inarguably is the best DB of all time. If I'm an NFL scout, he's getting drafted in the 4th round at minimum. Even if he just flames out in the SWAC or doesn't have as a dominant season as we project, I'm drafting him just solely on, okay, you was under Coach Prime. We're just gonna get you anyway. You are a 5-star. You are highly rated. People bank on those kind of things. You know what I'm saying? When they factor in you being drafted. So Doug Gottlieb, do your research. Look at all the Hall of Fame talent that has come out of HBCUs. We're not thinking about business decisions. The NCAA has recently opened doors for college players to get paid off their name. So it doesn't matter where you go. And I also rebuke those allegations that Travis Hunter accepted a prior deal before signing and switching to Jackson State. I believe those reports to be absolutely false as well. So, yeah, I think Doug Gottlieb comments are insane. You can make money anywhere. If you're talented, the scouts shall find you. In regards to Travis Hunter, I think this is huge for the university. I definitely believe that Deion Sanders being at Jackson State, as I previously said on the podcast when we were talking about Jackson State and how far they can go in the conference, it's bringing in more notoriety to these African American coaches who has taken these opportunities to kind of coach in a major university, coming back to HBCUs as Hugh Jackson, as Eddie George in Tennessee State, and these other coaches that's former NFL players kind of taking hold of these jobs and hiring former NFL staff members who have been blackballed out of NFL jobs, like a Hugh Jackson. And it's kind of working out in both worlds to where they're gaining that notoriety. They're getting the pro-level coaching and assistant coaches in the building. And it's attracting these 3-star recruits. It's attracting these 4-star recruits that we haven't been previously getting. Because let's be honest, HBCUs gets these lower level recruits. The only time we get a 3-star level recruit is when they've done something horrific at a major university, and then they have to come to us in order to just continue to play and continue to have eyeballs on them. So I definitely think all of these things have factored into the HBCUs growing. I've come along to agree with Malik's previous comments that we debated about this in previous podcasts about Jackson State leaving a SWAC, because like Deion said in his interview on ESPN during the Celebration Bowl, this is bigger than just Jackson State. It's about Grambling. It's about Southern. It's about Prairie View and all of these other schools. We're bringing that attention to the conference as a whole. And like you said, James, like this is just the first domino. Like we can get these better players as more coaches branch out and more NFL style coaching that kind of coming to fruition, so we'll kind of be on a level playing field, because that's what Deion is trying to do. He's trying to put us on a level playing field to where we can get those eyeballs and actually get drafted.
So to your point about number one, not number one, but again, Travis Hunter, you want to know who I would be extremely happy that he came to Jackson State?
Mm-hmm.
The competition. Because if I'm the competition, I know the pro scouts coming to see him. So now, when I play him, I know I got him watching me.
Absolutely.
I can get drafted based on having a good game against this nigga.
Absolutely.
Like, shit. You know what I'm saying? But I do want HBCUs to get, to have a shot at the 4 and 5 stars, but I don't want us to lose why we're here in the first place. Because when all those Hall of Famers were going to HBCUs, it's because you couldn't go to the PWIs. So now when they start to get all the top black athletes, a lot of diamonds in the rough still, even during the 90s, were coming to HBCUs, because we're actually the last HBCU to have 2 players drafted in the first round in the 2000 draft, in Sylvester Morris and Rashad Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
And even guys like Keontae Hampton, that's been 4-year starter, C.J. Holmes, Warren Newman, like these diamonds in the rough that are like, they didn't get big offers. They didn't have them. So this was really might have been their only shot to play Division I football and get the HBCU experience at the same time. So I still want us to continue to recruit guys like that. Don't just focus on getting 4 and 5 stars. And also, to the coaching thing, I think those guys like Hugh Jackson, Deion Sanders, and Eddie George, they have an extreme responsibility to uplift coaches who are coaches. Meaning that Hugh Jackson is the only coach of the three. When I say coach, I mean life coach, like lifer. Like he's a coach. That's what he do. Deion Sanders was a football player. Eddie George was a football player. A Heisman winner who turned coach with no coaching experience, but he got the job off his name. Deion Sanders. If your name not Deion Sanders, you don't get this job by your resume. It still got to be respect shown to the coaches. Hugh Jackson's a different story because he's been a coach, head coach at the NFL level, quarterback guru. So I don't want us to lose sight of even because everybody talk about getting players to come, but coaches is important too, maybe the most important. So I still want up and coming coaches who don't got the name, the NFL qualifications to still get their shot with HBCUs. Because I would take it personally. Like if I'm like this nigga going back to the Celebration Bowl, like I take that shit personal, man. Like you taking up a spot by your name. Like, nah, I'm finna make an example out of you when I play you. Y'all go grab this sledgehammer. Come on. Put them motherfucker in the dirt when we play their ass.
Real quick, because I gotta disagree. Because, I mean, look, let me give you an example. And he's doing an excellent job now, so this might be a bad example. But, like, let me throw in, like a Mike Vrabel. He was a former player, right? He's currently head coach of the Tennessee Titans NFL squad. He spent maybe a few seasons on Kansas City sideline as a D coordinator. And he immediately like never had to go down in the ranks to coach. He never had to like resort to going to high school and building his resume and like, you know, like why is it that when a African American coach is getting denigrated on the HBCU level, let alone like Hugh Jackson just left coaching my Cleveland Browns, and I actually think he did a pretty decent job. Like Baker Mayfield was not ready to start. He's not trash. He's just average, but nonetheless,
Just like John.
He trash.
But nonetheless, we'll debate that another time. But nonetheless, I feel like these with all due respect, I respect your opinion about Deion, but he did go 11-1 in the SWAC, like his first season, and then in spring football I think he went either undefeated or lost one game.
He was 3-3.
In that spring season, when
Alcorn quit though. Let's not let that go without mention. Alcorn quit and didn't want to play the season, so we were 4-3.
Right.
Alcorn quit and did not want to play.
Right.
Your defending SWAC 2019 champions quit.
But it was a lot of COVID going on. That was during the COVID season, so I'm not gonna really factor too much into that. But nonetheless, like these African American coaches, like these former players, like Deion and Eddie George, it's other former white players that has gotten ample opportunities and never had to go this far down just to get a job.
Name them.
Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel got his job on the NFL level after he played professional football.
So why what's the difference between Eddie George? Like why does Eddie George have to
never
go
coached?
out?
Period. And
But
you jumped
Mike
to being a
Vrabel
head
never
coach,
coached
but you
before
said
he
he
got
did
the
assistant. You did assistant.
But why did it have to be at the NFL level? Why he ain't have to start all the way down in the trenches, like just all the way down like Eddie George?
Sometimes that's how the cookie crumble.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. But the cookie is crumbling for former white players that were coaches, but the cookie is crumbling for probably the best DB
I'ma say this
in
why.
NFL history. Got to go all the way down to the SWAC.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Job.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because you taking a job from somebody who not gonna get a job unless it's at this level. You can get a job at another level. Deion could go be a DB coach at the NFL level. He could have been did it. Let's not fool ourselves. Eddie George could have went and been a running back coach at the NFL level. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a Heisman winning player. Heisman. This motherfucker won the Heisman. Deion ain't win no Heisman. This motherfucker won the Heisman. Deion is the greatest football player of all time. They could have made their way in the NFL. Doug found a way back to the NFL. You know what he had to do his ass first, though? Come back to Grambling. But Doug paid his dues. He's a Grambling alumni. That's what I'm saying. It's not the problem that they getting a job. It's just that you ain't in the quote Friday. You ain't put in on this man.
I want to say something to that too, because y'all know I don't know nothing about football, but this is what I'm thinking in regards to. I'm just gonna use Deion for instance. Deion is not just a Hall of Fame football player. He's Deion Primetime Sanders. So I feel like he has went places that his name has taken him that other Hall of Famers can't go, because you can be an NFL Hall of Famer and not be primetime. So him landing this job, I feel like it was more on him being primetime than his coaching ability. Not saying he can't coach, but it's because he primetime. That's all I'm saying. So I don't think it's a knock against black coaches. I think it's a knock against someone that's known for something other than their coaching in regards with Deion Sanders. He's known for his charisma, personality, and being a Hall of Fame player, not coaching, even though he has coached.
Yeah.
So let me ask y'all this.
And one more thing, I feel like with him being at that level in regards to like being a personality, he might feel like he can just jump the gun and don't have to start from the bottom like other people have to, or like take a job that you were talking about, like a DB coaching position, and try to come from the bottom. He wanted from the jump.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. So that's just my take on it.
That's tough for me. Because I'm gonna pick both of y'all to pieces right now.
Don't use Hugh, because like I said, Hugh is a coach. That's why
Well,
I didn't say
I'm
him.
gonna say this. In Hugh Jackson's case, I do think it's because he wanted to be there. Because I mean, I'm gonna say Hugh Jackson chose to be in Grambling just to kind of continue to be a head coach. Because after the situation in Cleveland, it's gonna be relatively hard for him to kind of bounce
he
back.
blackballed, like you said.
Right. I think he's been blackballed. Like he had a
Mark Jackson type shit.
He had a 1-15 season, then he bounced back with like the publicity of benching Baker and making him the number 2 quarterback on Hard Knocks, and kind of how that season went, and him being fired mid-seasons for Freddie Kitchens. But nonetheless, I think Hugh Jackson probably needs this, like, you know, just to kind of keep his name fresh and kind of stay coaching, so when the next opportunity strikes, he'll be ready. But to you two's point, first, I believe that if Deion Sanders, him being at Jackson State, if he was as big as both of you guys say he is, not only as a character and like his charisma is concerned, like as far as like his celebrity, and being a Hall of Fame coach, why in the God's name would he be in Jackson, Mississippi, if he was that big, and then he would not have been in Florida State, in one of these other premier coaching college football Power 5 conferences jobs? Because as you know, James, Florida State job since Jimbo Fisher has been a revolving door. Yeah. It's been ample opportunity to bring back an alum of, not only an alum of the university in Deion, and all of those things that you guys said about him being a celebrity and a Hall of Famer. Like, why would he? I'm going to take it back to what something Deion said in his press conference. He has his 40 acres and a mule. He wouldn't come to Jackson State unless he actually really wholeheartedly wanted to be there. Like,
for
what
who?
celebrity? Like, what? It's unprecedented. Like, what other name, even on a lower scale, has come to any of these HBCUs besides Deion Sanders that we can kind of date back to? Like, it's nobody.
You proving my point.
And I want to say, because like I say, I don't know much about college football. I just know what I see.
Right. Go ahead.
How many dominant black coaches it is in college football?
Okay.
I feel like to a certain extent, college football is still like black players, white coaches.
Absolutely.
Typically, I don't even want to say it, but modern day slavery to a certain extent. I'm pushing the button, but what I'm saying is
what you're saying.
that his name mean things in the NFL level and probably lower than Power 5 competition. But in Power 5, it's traditionally white coaches and black players. That's what it is. So his name don't really carry no weight like talking about unless he's going to be like one of those coordinators or, well, not a coordinator, but like a wide receiver or a cornerback coach or something like that. He ain't finna just go get no job in no Power 5 school. Why? Because he black.
But
that's the truth.
He can now. You want to know why? Because they done seen the motherfucker coach. And
Now they see his value.
Yeah.
Now they seeing that, okay, we don't need the white man. He's still going to bring these black players, and that's what they really want. They don't want no black coach. They want the black players.
So you know what they want him to do? They want him to go be a coon.
They want him to go up there and dance and get them players.
Shucking and jiving.
So that's my take on it.
Hey, look, and I love that take, and I actually agree with. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
And this comes from a person that I don't know shit about football.
But you looking at, but that's the beauty of it, because you're looking at it from a outside perspective of like what it means, all things minus football.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of your take. But to bring it into fruition of like what it means on the coaching perspective of football, I think he's doing an excellent job. Great staff, but he's doing an excellent job. Like to be a head coach. And it goes back to the point I made about like these former players who are getting blackballed from these jobs, like how you're saying in the Power 5 conferences. It's like the best of both worlds. Going back to a point I made on the previous podcast, like they can not only segue themselves to these lower tier jobs to give them the publicity that they've been lacking. Like as much as you say that you don't like how Deion has gotten Young Jeezy and all this stuff, they like Jackson State might have deserved this kind of publicity and attention for years, but would have never gotten it until now. So I appreciate this. Like I appreciate looking at Jackson State on ABC. Mike Tirico calling our game. Like I love that. Like this is Jackson State. I'm an alum. I want to see Jackson State on the biggest spotlight possible. This does my heart well. And even though you might disagree, like I mean, I believe that the best of both worlds are being backs are being scratched on both sides. Like these former players who know the game and who have played this game at a high level, I know they can coach. Like I mean, if I played the game on an NFL level, I know what I'm saying out there. I know I can teach young men, and that doesn't define me as a leader. And like I can segue these HBCU jobs to the spotlight to where these Power 5 conferences have to respect me. And not only that, I'm getting some of their players and shining a spotlight on the players as well. So, like, I don't see where.
So, where the coaches, though, the coaches who been lifelong coaches who the only job they can get is a Jackson State. That's what I'm saying. You taking a job away from them. Then you bringing your assistants or not of that ilk. You going to get assistants. Like, no disrespect, Dennis Thurman come from the NFL. He's been an NFL coordinator.
Yeah, true.
Where's the new blood that ain't going to get no job if Jackson State don't hire them? If Grambling don't hire them, if Southern don't hire them, they stuck at Colin, Hines Community College. Like you say, you got your 40 acres. So I feel like if you Deion Sanders and you got yours, you got a not just to uplift the players coming up, the next generation of coaches. That's what's being lost. Because what be lost in a lot of the previous SWAC glory, Grambling, Eddie Robinson there from post-World War II to the 90s, handed off to Doug Williams. That's why that program was so strong for so long. Coaching, Jackson State, Bob Hill came, 71. W.C. Gordon on Bob Hill's staff. James Carson, defensive coordinator for W.C. Gordon, played at Jackson State. 92. He died, rest in peace. 99, Robert Hughes on those staffs. You pass the torch from coaches to coaches to coaches. But they bleed this shit. Doug Williams bleed Grambling. These motherfuckers bled Jackson State. This motherfucker, let me quit calling him a motherfucker. He can, there's no problem going to get Deion Sanders to be your coach. But you got to understand that the SWAC ain't that. This ain't Florida State where it, to me, is just about winning. We at a different place in history where it's about how you win. Yeah, it look nice to go win. That Celebration Bowl, like real talk, we lost that motherfucker for a reason. It might have been meant like from a higher power, like we needed to lose so he could see, like, bruh, we don't give a damn about the celebrity endorsements, bruh. This swag football, this shit gonna go on with or without you. Cause them players who play for South Carolina State, they might have one or two to go pro. That was their Super Bowl to win that game. And you should have made it known to your players that you finna go play a team that's their Super Bowl to play you. Them motherfuckers probably thinking about the Senior Bowl. You know, Deion Sanders, our coach, we get to go pro. Damn that. Focus here. I guarantee you one thing, you would never seen Saban players fuck up like that. Shit come from the top down. That's what come with a celebrity coach, though. You get celebrity shit. A lot of rappers have down albums. Feeling yourself. Other shit, distractions. You got to get back to it. That's all I'm saying. That's what I think Zay meant when he was talking about soul searching. But Zay gonna be a little bit more diplomatic with it.
Okay.
Nah, fuck that shit, nigga. You got to goddamn hit it. Shedeur is a good quarterback. Shedeur got pro potential. Both his sons got pro potential. But at the same time, it's been certain stuff like at the SWAC preseason press conference, Shedeur was like, we got a team of guys here because they want to be, not here because they have to be. But you finna go play a group of niggas who here because they have to be. And as much as we don't like it, Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, they weren't here necessarily because they wanted to be. They were here because they had to be. You couldn't go nowhere else.
And I feel like that's the difference in like when you're playing, like it's a good thing wanting to be somewhere. But when you gotta do something, like if you got bills that you gotta pay, you're gonna do what you gotta do to pay them bills because you gotta pay them. But like back to the playing, like you said with NC State, they gotta be at NC State. I mean, they probably had other options, but like their options wouldn't gonna probably eclipse that.
Yeah.
Because if there was, they would have took it. So these players gotta be there and they gotta make the best out of their situation. These players at Jackson State, they there because they want to be there. Because probably them they could have eclipsed and went to a bigger school. So now they might not play to that same level because they don't gotta be there. Not saying I'm not taking away from their talent or none of that, but it's just wanting to and have to. It's a pro and a con. That's all.
Okay. Hey, look, when you put it like that, I definitely can see.
No, he can coach. Let me say this. That motherfucker, seeing him, knowing his health struggles, and seeing him take that step in the locker room, that shit would have got me so fired up to play, bro. Like he got some in him. He can definitely motivate. He can definitely get players to play. I question the game management sometimes, like with the clocks and some of the stuff I seen in the spring, but you can work that out. They go to being a first-time head coach too. You know what I'm saying?
He got a lot to learn as
well.
well.
I don't think Hugh gonna have them fuck-ups because Hugh done been there, done that. That's what I mean when I say he a coach. Like, he a life coach. Like, he know what to do. Then Grambling gonna give motherfuckers hell. They finna give folks hell.
Man,
Yeah.
Listen, this has been a great topic, great conversation. Like, I don't want it to end, but we reaching that mark. And I want to ask one last question. And it's still related to HBCUs and like all those things. Imagine this 2009. You got a son.
Oh, Lord.
He played football or basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I want Haywood to answer first because James, I want you to answer second. And you'll know why. They have an opportunity to go to the next level in college and go to one of these power schools in regards to basketball or power school in regards to football. What decision would you want your son to make in regard if this 2009? Like, do you want him to take that full ride at HBCU, take that scholarship at a HBCU full ride, or take that full ride at a Kansas or something if you're playing basketball, or somewhere like Bama or Florida State or Florida, University of Florida, because we talking about 2009. What would you want your kid to do?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be completely 100% honest. if it was my son and he's asking me personally, and for my advice, I would tell him to like go to wherever he would want to go, first and foremost, being a father. But if it is like, if he's heavily weighing on my decision, it would have to be like the pretty much the combine. Like if he's playing college football and Alabama in 09 or LSU in 09 comes to my door, son, you're going. We going to the league. You're going to feed your families and bring in generational wealth. Because at the end of the day, this is a business. And you got to make business decisions. Like, I love, like being a bigger person than yourself. And I love all of this stuff. But if he were to make that decision, I'm going to advise him. I'm not going to advise him against it, but I'm going to tell him that he'll have to go even more above the Call of Duty than going to Alabama or Duke if he played basketball. Because, like, you got to dominate pretty much in these lower level conferences in order for your worth to be seen, opposed to you just being pretty good at Duke and, like, you know what I'm saying, doing your job, and being pretty good at Alabama and doing your job, and you're going to go to the NFL pretty much guaranteed. But you're putting your future at risk going to a HBCU, not because of you, but because you have to overly dominate, and that puts even more pressure on you. So if I'm him and he decide and I'm advising him, and Duke and like, or one of these major programs from basketball or football perspective comes and call, I definitely take it. But if it's like one of these middling teams, or if he's on the level of, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying, one of these mid-tier schools, and, you know, HBCU probably wouldn't hurt, I definitely say, like, hey, man, go to Tennessee State, go to Jackson State, and enjoy that. I'll lean it based more towards culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as like being a African American and getting that tradition, because I don't care what anybody says. Going to HBCU and going to a PWI is two completely night and day experiences. Like, the culture from hearing the band to seeing the dance team and pep rallies and stuff from HBCU, opposed to like real, like, I didn't go to a PWI, so I won't know, but just based on what you see in like kind of side, like a bunch of partying, like it's a zillion people around, you know what I'm saying, that kind of experience. So if it's a major conference, I know it's guaranteed, definitely go to Duke. If I'm playing basketball, definitely go to Alabama. But if it's like on the fence and I can go anywhere and be like a 3-star middle, I say go to HBCU and shine, or be a big fish in a small pond, and kind of make it smart for you in that aspect. So what you think, James?
You know, I'm going to the HBCU. But
that's one of the reasons why I wanted him to answer second, because I pretty much knew what he was gonna say, because from me knowing James since 2011, 2012,
yep.
He's been the most advocate of HBCUs, specifically Jackson State, that I know. So I already knew it was a no-brainer asking him that question. But you can go and expound on your point.
The reason why, okay, number one, the main reason why it's in me, and I'm gonna put that shit in my kids, like, you know, but you don't never know how it's gonna go over. But I'm gonna put that shit in my kids. But let's step away from that. Let's just view it from a business perspective. Okay. If you got to offer, you play football, you got to offer from, like you said, Florida in 09, or you can come to Jackson State. I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to sway you to Jackson State. And the reason being, because I'd rather my kids be one in a million than one of a million. And everybody from Florida go pro. You know what I'm saying? They're a pro factory. You got a chance to be a player of a generation, or set a standard. You basically could have been Travis Hunter 10, 15 years ahead. You got a chance to set a standard for your generation and generations after. I'm all about legacy. Generational wealth gonna come, Because 9 times out of 10, if you got a legacy, you got some type of generational wealth. Maybe not in the financial department, but in some department, you got some for each generation of your family to look back and they can hang their hat on something with my family name. I'm real big on the family name. So I would have recruited them like that. Like I would have told them, son, look, you could be Joe Hayden, or you could be Tim Tebow, or you could be Steve McNair. Only one of them an NFL MVP.
Man, that's tough. That is tough, man. I respect it to the fullest, man, because I can't argue with it. I really can't argue with it. But it's kind of like, I don't know, because like it's kind of like taking a guarantee. Like, do I want to guarantee what's best for my family, or do I want to take it on a whim and like, I don't know. That's a tough decision.
You see why a nigga single too now, don't you?
That is tough, man. That is a tough call, man, because but like I said, like it was tough for me too, like because I said it would have to be guaranteed. Like
Yeah.
It would have to be guaranteed. Like it would have to be like Duke coming to my if Coach K came to my doorstep and wanted my son, I can't turn that down.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like I can't say, son, look, I'm just take away from this. I'm gonna take away from you this automatic ride to the pros, but I'm gonna tell you to go to Jackson State and be a big fish in a small pond and create a legacy. Other than just giving you that guaranteed, just like I mean, it could be bigger. Like.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like what you saying, like you know what I'm saying, the rewards could be even greater on that smaller scale, and I definitely don't disagree with it. But to like take away that guarantee, it's like saying like, hey, you pretty much asking me like, look, do you want the big joker in your hand, or do you want the lit joker in the big deuce? Which one you taking? Or do I want the big and little joker, or do I want the big deuce, the little deuce, and the big ace or the black ace? Like, I gotta go with the guarantee.
And I feel you. And see,
but
I don't know.
If you pull off getting those 3 books with the smaller spades, you looked at it as a legend. Like, hey man, how you pull that off? Or you know what I'm saying? Like people looking at you like you the truth. You feel me? Like I mean, so it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
What kind of drives you? What motivates you? What's kind of in your heart to really do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
that's
as far
true.
as legacy,
You got to know your kids.
Is legacy bigger than fame and money or wealth? And you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like that battle.
Yeah,
that's definitely a question, John.
I'm glad I had y'all two here to chime in on these topics, man. I know both of y'all are ever since I've been knowing y'all been passionate about sports, and I feel like this has been a great conversation. I hope the viewers and listeners at home will take this and, you know, leave a comment if you don't disagree or disagree with something or don't, whatever. Do y'all thing. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure y'all leave the rating on the podcast and the apps. It'll help in the algorithm so this can be shared with other people, man. I'm glad to have Haywood, one of the co-hosts of UNCORK'D, and James, co-host of Jacktown Classics, to grace the presence of this platform, man. And we out this thing, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
Most definitely, man. Appreciate you, man.
Sir.
I'm going for 30. I know when I'm curry. Hoping that I fall off. I know it, not worried. It's a body bag. I'm toting the gurney. Keep throwing them flurries. I'm a heavy hitter. Betting on myself, so I ain't never need a bidder. Who you is thinking that I can't.